Hey, how are you doing? We're back today for day 3, Vital Sunshine. Now, I know it seems like I've really been talking about light a lot, and I have, but it's so important and such a broad topic with so many factors that it's really hard for me to be super brief and still feel like I'm giving you my best. But but I promise we're going to be talking about other things in this series besides light, okay? However, there's still just a couple of things we haven't covered yet in regards to sunlight. So let me just get right to it. Now, the first and most important cycle that our physiology is coupled to is the circadian signaling that happens through our interaction with light. Um, and every square inch of your body, including your eyes, is covered with photoreceptors meant to specifically absorb light. Now, as I said on day 1, we take the sun's energy, the photons, and we convert it into an electrochemical signal to power our cells and move our machinery. Now, there are some mediators at play in that action. There's water, which we're going to cover. There's the omega-3 fatty acid DHA, which we'll also talk about. There's vitamin A, nitric oxide, cholesterol sulfate, and others. But really, sunlight is the major player involved here, and it's used for many, many biological functions. Now, this is because light has a pharmacological effect on our bodies, which essentially means that light is a drug. And used correctly, it can heal you. Used incorrectly, it can harm you. So let's talk about the different ways that we can use sunlight correctly, and some things associated with it that are not so hot. Now, we all know we make vitamin D from sunlight. If you don't, now you do. The vitamin D aspect is a critical component of many important functions, particularly the immune system. But unfortunately, in our pill-happy culture, many people think that they can just supplement vitamin D orally and be fine. I respectfully disagree with that notion for a few reasons. However, I'll talk about that in another video, and I'll link it to this email as well. So be sure to watch it if you want to know what my thoughts on supplementing with oral vitamin D is all about. Don't do it. Aside from vitamin D, sunlight is also beneficial for the production of nitric oxide, which helps to lower blood pressure and improve hypertension. Not only that, but sunlight helps produce feel-good chemicals called endorphins, and as well as other hormones like melatonin, which we talked about yesterday, insulin, and then estrogen and testosterone. So by now it should be obvious how important sunlight is to manifesting good health. It's one of those things that I could probably babble on about for a very long time. So I should probably just stop now and get into sharing with you on how to maximize your sunlight potential. So the first thing, of course, is to start slowly and build up a protective sun callus. So let your skin color be your guide. The lighter your skin is, the less time you can spend in the sun before burning. So start slow, increase your sun exposure by 5 minutes each day, and work your way up to about 30 minutes a day. Gradually expose as much skin as possible, working your way up to or down to nothing. Completely naked is best. If naked isn't an option, check out tan through swimwear. Number 2, do not wear any glasses of any kind, including contact lenses. Do not tan through a window. So glass blocks beneficial UVB light and allows the more harmful UVA to pass through. So if you want to know more about the story between sun exposure and skin cancer, I'll put a link in the email as well to something I wrote about that. Aside from that, UVA actually destroys vitamin D as well, as a protective measure to prevent you from getting too much vitamin D from UVB. I don't recommend using sunblock at all. So if you need to get out of the sun or cover up with something. Your hormones are supposed to be released from the pituitary gland in the morning between 6 and 10 a.m. Now, the signal for this is sunlight hitting your eyes, traveling back to your retinas, which then travels back to the pituitary and flips the switch to release those hormones. So, sunlight in the morning is most beneficial or necessary, really, for hormones and winding the biological clocks that we talked about. Sunlight in the afternoon is for vitamin D and helping entrain your circadian rhythm. Do both of those daily. There's a free app called the D-Minder to help you determine the best times to be in the sun for where you live to maximize your vitamin D harvest. To make vitamin D, you also need two things, cholesterol and sulfur. Now, these two combine to make cholesterol sulfate, which is necessary to make vitamin D. So, contrary to popular belief, dietary cholesterol intake accounts for only a very small amount of the cholesterol stores in our body. About 75% of the cholesterol we have in our body is primarily made in the body or by the body, by the liver and by the gut and all of our cells. Now, of course, this implies that everything needs to be in good working order in order to produce it properly. As for sulfur, good sources in the diet include coconut oil, onions, garlic, cruciferous vegetables like kale, broccoli, radishes, cabbage. Avoid products sprayed with glyphosate, also known as Roundup. It interferes with sulfate synthesis. So some of the main sources of glyphosate are non-organic produce, wheat and other grains, and animal products that consumed glyphosate sprayed grains. Now, this is but one reason why I advocate for a diet low in grains and legumes and high in organic fruits and vegetables and grass-fed meats. Our food supply has become toxic. We're going to talk about that later on in the program too. You can eat your sunscreen. Now, this is a big one. The pigments, the carotenoids that give fruits and vegetables their color also act as a natural sunscreen to help protect your skin from sun damage. So things like the brightly colored berries, citrus, dark leafy greens, tomatoes, watermelons, these things are grown in times of high sun exposure, so eat them during those times. This also includes most shellfish and wild salmon, which are a source of astaxanthin, which is a potent antioxidant and a natural sunscreen. Now, it takes up to about 48 hours for vitamin D to be absorbed in the skin, so don't soap or don't use soap or scrub the skin after showering or when showering after sun exposure. Just a simple rinse with water is all you need, and that could be a reason why vitamin D levels are so low too. Use coconut oil on your skin before and after sun exposure. It's both moisturizing and a good source of sulfur. And when you're in the sun, have some part of your body touching the grass or the earth, and we'll get into this later as well. But for now, just do it. Okay, I need to wrap this up. So it should be obvious to you by now that sunlight, all light really, has a major effect on your health. And I really want to provide you with a good background of why these things are important, so that you can understand the consequences of doing them or not doing them, in hopes of encouraging you to follow through with optimizing your health. So for a day 3 challenge, just try to spend 10 to 15 minutes outside in the sun daily. Eat lunch, take a nap, even if it's to work on your laptop or take a phone call. My personal favorite strategy is gardening. It's the perfect excuse to be outside daily in the sun, connected to the earth. My other favorite strategy is to go to the gym. My gym is outdoors, and so I like to spend time outside moving my body in nature as it was intended to be moved. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for watching, and go outside and harvest some sun.